A lot of people talk that they like gas. They're into that funk. They're into that dank. But a lot of times when they say gas, they're referring to something just loud, aromatic, or pungent. But I mean, essentially what we're talking about gas, you and I both know we're talking more about that diesely, piney.
The funk, the whole funk, and nothing but the funk.
Now in this video, I'm gonna break down the top breeders that I've dealt with who do actually deliver on that gas. Stay tuned. Now, if you're gonna wanna grow some of these dank genetics, whether it be gassy or any other kind of terp you're after, you're gonna want some great equipment. And one of the best companies out there right now is AC Infinity.
If you're ready to nurture your green thumb and grow the garden of your dreams, look no further because AC Infinity has got you covered. Whether you're breaking it down to get into individual pieces or you're getting the entire AC Infinity grow kit, AC Infinity brings everything you need to unleash your gardening potential. Use discount code CLtv at checkout to save on all AC Infinity products.
Now at this point in my life, I've been growing for over a decade and I've really noticed what I like and what I don't like. For the most part, I really like that funk, that gas, that dank, that pungentness. Sometimes I do like a little bit of sweet, sometimes I do like a little bit of the citrus, but for the most part, I'm always leaning on that skunky, funky, nasty diesel. Whether that be an actual diesel or something in a cross. If you're looking for genetics like these, here are my top breeders, and none are in specific orders. These are just how I wrote them down. People in the Stairs Genetics, or Putts. Now I've been rolling with Putts now for quite a while. I was turned on to him by the homie Moose Grows, and I realized right off the bat, he's got a very similar palate as him.
Gas?
4DD is one of his biggest crosses, and that one seems to be across the board, hitting all the areas that I like. Then when he came in with Ghost OG and crossed those together, that really just hit all marks for me. It was a little bit tougher of a cloner, but overall it was great smoke. Now People Under the Stairs put out a lot of other very good quality genetics, of course. For me, the only ones that I've had experience are the Scooby-Doo, but right now I'm getting ready to run the East Coast Sour Diesel crossed with Tom Hill Haze, and also a Wedding Cake crossed with the 4DD. When it comes to finding that gas, Putts definitely puts it down.
Bring that heat.
Next on my list, the infamous one, Karma Genetics. Now again, if you've been a long time viewer of this show or you see me on any other channels, you've probably heard me mention Karma Genetics, specifically Headbanger.
Of course he said that.
That is one for me that still goes down in history as the most gassy, dankest, tastiest cultivar that I've grown. Now Headbanger is a cross of Sour Diesel and Biker Kush V2. Now the phenotype I had in particular wasn't a great yielder, but man was it great smoke. It was definitely something that hit all the notes when I was looking for when it came to the nose and the flavor. And the overall effect for me, on point. Now as a heavy consumer, when it comes to effect, it all kind of hits me very comparable. When it comes to what I like to consume, that really boils down to that terpene and that flavonoid. Now when it came to Headbanger, this one didn't have the prettiest look. It may not even have the highest THC, but man, that one got me faded and it hit the endocannabinoid system like no others. It's like I had a key, there was a lock, but I had the wrong key for so long. I finally got the right key, hit it in, pop that motherfucker, and boom. The endocannabinoid system was just hitting the G-spot as much as you could possibly get.
A little pervy. Jeez.
Another one that I grew was Soa.
You said it wrong.
Now this is Sour Diesel, back crossed multiple times from Karma Genetics 2007 cut. And it was definitely some fire, don't get me wrong, but personally I feel like that Headbanger was just the one. If you're able to find one of those, some good cuts or some beans, that's definitely one that I highly recommend for you gassy fans.
So good.
Now more recently I've been dealing with a great breeding crew, Boston Roots and Bloom Seed Co. Together they have come up with some amazing cultivars, and you may or may not have heard them locally, but I'm sure you've heard me talk about them more recently. The first one I mentioned that I've grown right now and that I've seen grown, depending on the phenotype you get for sure, is Chemistry. Now Chemistry is Motor Breath crossed with Headbanger. Again, yes, the Headbanger. And it's some fire, definitely, don't get me wrong, but there's some phenotypes that are really bland. Now when I worked with Franklin Fields, we had a few that were really fire. Unfortunately, it seemed like they kept the wrong ones, but the one that I was able to keep definitely is hitting the notes that I'm after. We'll see how she does in the organic super soil, but overall, it's definitely leaning a little more in the Motor Breath, but in the end result of the terps, slightly more in the Headbanger. Now the next one would be Sherbhanger. Of course, this one also being crossed with Headbanger and then Sherbird as well, so you're getting a little bit of sweet with the gas, but this one is fire. Depending on the phenotype you have, you may have a keeper, or you may have one that really shucks well in the hash department. Now when it comes to the smoke, the ones that I've had, they've hit a little bit too sweet for me, but they have definitely had that nice gassy exhale. Boston Roots clearly found a very good Headbanger to breed with, and they bred it across the board to make sure that you hit these diesely, aromatic kind of biker kush funk aroma. Now from the Sherbhanger, they were able to breed one called Black Maple. Now this one, the name didn't catch me. I was thinking, you know, mapley, Black Maple just doesn't seem like anything that would make sense, but this one I didn't realize was bred with Sherbhanger, which again is a lineage of Headbanger, and it definitely leaned a little bit more on that funk, but it had some deeper, musky, almost GMO-like aromas with a little bit of a sweet exhale. It was really complex flavor and overall effect. I definitely was impressed. Now, there's so many great breeders out there. There's plenty that I probably forgot to even mention in this video, but there's not a whole lot that I've tried that I've been able to find this gassy, funky aroma from. If there's something that you know of, drop it below in the comment section to help myself and, of course, your fellow gromies. Now, when it comes to growth of all these cultivars, they do vary. Some are a little bit more resilient to stress, some are a little bit more susceptible. Some need a little bit more training and some need a little less. Now, there's plenty of videos on this channel that cover how to grow these genetics if you're struggling with that. And if you're after a different type of terpene or flavonoid, well, I don't know if I'm that guy for you, to be honest. But the homie Trey might have some, so stay tuned for a follow-up. So big shout out to these breeders and big shout out to other breeders who are putting in work and making sure that we got great genetics, because without them, we wouldn't even be smoking anything fire. And without those who are hunting phenotypes, we wouldn't even know it was worth looking for. With that being said, it's your boy Rob from CLtv. Stay lifted.